Okay, welcome everyone to today's Pursuant webinar. I am your host, Leah Davenport, and before we get started, I'm just going to give it about 30 seconds and kind of let everybody come into the room while we are getting today's presentation started. All right, let's dive right in. Thank you, David. All right, so a few housekeeping notes to keep in mind today. We're excited to show you the best kept secret in fundraising with the hope that it won't be such a secret after our time today looking at the GivingDNA platform. As a quick reminder, we will send the recording of this presentation out in case you have to drop or were not able to attend and wanted to send it to someone to review later. If you have any questions, you can ask them at any time using the Q&A panel in your Zoom toolbar. And we may answer your question during the presentation if it's relevant to the current topic. Otherwise, we've reserved a final 5 minutes of our meeting for your questions. And you can always reach out to any of today's presenters with an email if you have any questions that occurred to you after the fact. As I mentioned a few moments ago, I'm your host, Leah Davenport, and I serve on our marketing team here at Pursuant GivingDNA. And with me today are Ryan Carpenter and Dave Stanton. So Ryan, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your role at GivingDNA.
Sure, thanks, Leah. I oversee customer success for our GivingDNA users, and that really means everything from getting them onto the platform, comfortable with using it, helping with strategy, and providing updates on all the product features that we continually add to the platform thanks to Dave and team. And so really just enjoy working with all of our subscribers to help them get value and really begin to see ROI as quick as possible.
Thank you. And we've also got Dave Stanton with us. And so David, holler at our listeners today.
Thanks, Leah. Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Dave Stanton, as Leah said, and I head up the product side for GivingDNA platform, working with our wonderful team of engineers to build out a lot of what you'll see today and continuing to improve upon it based on what we're seeing and hearing from our clients and people like yourself to make it like the best platform it can be.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's dive in. These are the topics we will be covering today. Pretty simple. Why is GivingDNA important and something you should be considering in your fundraising? We will get a deep dive into the product and have some Q&A time. And please be active in the questions as we are going throughout, because we want to make sure that we are exploring some of the nooks and crannies that might be most relevant to you and to your challenges that you're facing. Last week, some of you may have had the pleasure of hearing Reggie Rivers from the Gala team expound upon the lessons that he has learned from the last year of virtual events in this strange pandemic environment we're still living in. And in that presentation last week, he also covered the emergence of hybrid events, which are a mix of virtual and in-person attendees. And in that webinar, Ryan explained how GivingDNA can help you prioritize your outreach for virtual or hybrid events as these kinds of new forms of getting together and fundraising emerge. And in that presentation, he talked about how you can identify engaged donors who have a high degree of digital preference and affinity with your organization. And so in this presentation, we wanted to kind of double click into that idea and give you a tour of the GivingDNA platform, because it offers a wide variety of fundraising applications beyond mere events. And we know many of you here today work in many areas of fundraising across the platform. And so we wanted to kind of give you the full tour of everything that can be accomplished with this tool set. And before we get into that, I have a question that I would love to get some comments from people who are in attendance today. And that is, what is your current biggest fundraising challenge? And throughout, if you just want to go ahead and dump those into the, drop those into the Q&A, I'd love to just do a sort of informal survey here of some of the concerns that you have. So big question, why is having rich data about your constituents important? You're probably aware that large corporations are collecting demographic and behavioral data about you every time you interact with them. You experience this technology every day when Amazon sends you recommendations based on recent purchases, or Spotify creates customized playlists for you at year end, kind of summarizing your listening habits. I know I'm a big fan of sharing those on my Instagram stories, like I'm sure many people are. Or Netflix makes recommendations based on your viewing history, or Uber Eats reminds you that it's been a while since you last ordered and sends you a coupon to order from your favorite takeout place. Your donors and constituents are used to this in their day-to-day. So are you. And so why should your fundraising methods be all that different? It's really not creepy anymore. It's called hyper-personalization, and it's here to stay. And it's something that organizations can use responsibly to reach and engage their donors. I heard this great quote the other day, which was that every second of every day you leave around a 1.7 megabyte digital footprint. So if you don't know more than just simple giving history about your donors, you really aren't paying attention. We want to challenge and inspire you to think about your organizations differently. How would you approach your fundraising strategy if you were to consider yourself a data company? Whether you realize it or not, your donors are leaving digital breadcrumbs about their preferences and habits for you to find and leverage to reach them with more personalized and humanized experiences. Because your donors, they're not data. They're not just data points. They're not rows in a spreadsheet. They're people. And people want to give to other people like them. So what we want to help you do here with GivingDNA is figure out what makes your donors tick and reach them with messages that humanize you and your organization and make them more likely to develop that deep loyalty that leads to years and years of continued support. So, in summary, why is GivingDNA a necessary replacement or complement to your existing fundraising tech stack? Well, for one, it's purpose-built for fundraisers. We serve every level of the giving pyramid, excuse me, and Ryan will be sharing more about that in a moment. It's important to understand kind of when we refer to GivingDNA, we mean what makes your supporters tick and help them raise more money, help you raise more money from them. It empowers teams of all sizes, whether you're a small shop or a large shop, to identify your most valuable supporters and advocates. It'll save you time and resources. You can get to information much quicker without needing assistance from your IT or your data analyst. And there's also some cost savings here. It may be that you are buckling together a few different point solutions across your team to get fundraising insights that you can take care of all in one tool with this platform, and get a more holistic view of how all of your different fundraising levers and switches are working. And essentially, all of this simply helps you know who's most likely to give, how to best engage them, and what messages will resonate most. So Ryan, we're about to dive into the product, and I'm about to hand over the screen to you. But before we actually look into it, can you explain a little bit more about how GivingDNA has a wide application across the donor pyramid?
Yeah, thanks, Leah. GivingDNA was purposefully built to support every level of the giving pyramid. So whether it's very high at the top in major giving, there's a prospect ID tool. You can look at individual donor dossiers of your people already in portfolios or for your next best prospects. We also have upgrade candidates or sustainer candidates, those most likely to become recurring donors that can support your mid-level or your monthly giving programs. And every day we work with folks in annual giving, helping them to identify, what is it really that is going to resonate with their donors, so they can create versions of appeals, and they can also understand channel preferences to know where their donors are most likely to engage with them. Greater engagement leads to greater giving and more frequent giving. And so with that, I want to show you exactly what I just said through a demo. And if you can stop sharing, I
Yep.
will go ahead and do it myself.
Yes.
All right. So upon logging into GivingDNA and then uploading a gift and constituents file, GivingDNA goes to work for you right away by identifying opportunity segments. These are segments of those that are about to lapse or have recently lapsed, telling you that you should probably engage with them and try to reactivate them. We also have those segments I just mentioned, people likely to upgrade if you just ask them. What if you were able to have some more information rather than doing an A/B test on an upgrade gift ask array? You could just take these individuals right here and say, all right, these 5,800, I'm going to include an upgraded gift ask array, and you can potentially receive more money. Same goes for sustainer candidates and non-donors, which we'll go over in a moment. This is really just the beginning, though, because we can provide you intelligence and insights just based on the files you've uploaded. Beginning with a gift file, we basically roll up all of your gifts and donors, and say you wanted to understand what the retention rate for your 1,000 plus donors was over the last 5 years. Rather than having to go to your IT department or build a report in your database or CRM, I've just done it in 10 seconds. And now if you have to share that to your board, you could download an image, drop it in a deck or an email. Instantaneous. These are key metrics that all of us fundraisers and direct marketers care about, and it's easy to use. You don't have to ask your bogged down IT or data team to create a report for you. It's really made for direct marketers and fundraisers to easily get to. And so we just immediately got to retention. But let's say you manage direct marketing and you want to see what your direct mail average gift has been over the last 2 years. Quickly selected that, and now I know, well, my average gift has gone down 10% from last year to this year. Again, key metrics that can help you make informed decisions. Now, this is just with your files. The real fun stuff is we have a database of 200 million individuals in all of their insights, third-party data that we update every month. So you upload a constituents file, and then we see which of your people are in our database. And from there, with just a name and address that you provide us, we can give you all of this information, basic demographics like their age, gender, do they have children at home, financial information, information about their life, psychographics, or how about where they're giving elsewhere. You know them through what their activities are with you. But I can tell you as an example, I recently worked with a small social services organization in Tallahassee, Florida, and they were looking to expand their donor base. They had to increase their year-end giving by 50%. Costs had gone up because the programmatic work had increased, and they were looking for ways to do so. So what we did was we identified their non-donors that were actively giving elsewhere and were likely to support social services. This was just one of 5 discrete populations that they created targeted communications for at year end. They didn't all get the same version of the appeal. And so we did identify the non-donors. They saved the segment. And we did the same thing for those in the medical field because we have occupation background, as well as major gift prospects. They all got tweaked versions. And what happened was overall, there was a 12% response rate, which was more than double what they were forecasting. And they wanted to increase their giving year over year by 50%. They did so by 84%. And for a small organization, that made a big difference to them. Now, for those that were on the call with Reggie and I last week, I talked a little bit about channel preferences as it applies to virtual events. And so in addition to financial and giving information, we also have information on what channels people prefer to engage through. And so it's based on transaction history. Where are people making purchases? Where are they giving gifts? And based on their propensity to do so over one channel or another, we can tell you if they're extremely likely to engage digitally, over the phone, or through the mail. And it's not mutually exclusive. So I could be likely to engage on the phone and also extremely likely or likely to engage through the mail. This works. We have a number of case studies on our website where we've seen phone connection rates increase by 40%, as well as major gift prospects responding to emails and giving a significant amount of money, which I'll get to momentarily. So in the instance of a hybrid or a virtual gala, I know something that was thought of was, well, we had team chairs and people had supported those team chairs. Can I do anything with them? Do they even care about me? What you could do is look at any of those donors that gave to the team chairs and see if they're likely to engage digitally. And more importantly, are they philanthropic, or was it just because they wanted to support their colleague or their family member who happened to have an affinity to you and was the team chair? And so from there, I would go then look at people that say you're a hospital. Not only do they prefer to engage digitally, but I know they're giving to healthcare in the last 12 months, and it's likely not you. The giving data is based on many large organizations. So that could be a way to help you understand who do you want to invite to your next hybrid or virtual event. As I've said, we support all levels of the giving pyramid, and talked a little bit about annual fund. Mid-level, we can help you identify those upgrade candidates. Can also help you with major gifts. And so down over here, we have what we call donor dossiers. All of those insights that I just showed you on the constituents dashboard, all those third-party data insights, you can then drill down to the individual and look at. You can do that. Let's look at our major gift prospects. And who have I unlocked? Oh, here we go. And so now on this individual, all those insights that we were looking at while we were building segments, you can also look at on the individual. Very helpful for anybody's major gift portfolio or mid-level portfolio or plan giving as well. So you can see these third party, this is not information that you upload, it's information that we provide you based on what we have in our database. There's some custom fields that you may have uploaded on your constituents or gift file. Can show you the giving history to your organization and all these other financial information, giving behaviors, communication preferences, are they active on social? And if you'd like, you can build prospect lists. And so you can see I've built a number of them here with the people on it. If you wanted to create a list, we offer you two options: guided, where we use some best practices to help identify, if you're looking for a typical mid or major prospect list, here's the list you want, and you could create it, or you could customize that a little bit and tweak it yourself. Simply deciding, all right, which of those insights do I want to include? I want people that have only given them greater than $500. And custom, those are things I've uploaded. I don't want people that do not want to give to direct mail. And then giving, I want people, we have a capacity score. I want their capacity score to be higher than $10,000. And you would then just create it, and you would have a list here. Last thing I wanted to show you, for all those that are managing the annual fund, or if you want to look at lookalikes, who looks like my major gift donors, that may help me create a prospect list. We have a donor profile tool where we provide you a snapshot of your overall donor file, and then you can compare it to any other segment that you have. So I could look at my mid-level or my new donors. Let's look at those people. How do they look compared to my overall file? Because as you evolve, as you gain new donors, maybe they care about things differently. Maybe they have more or less wealth. And in this case, I can see, wow, great that we brought on a lot of new donors in 2020. They look somewhat similar, but there's a lot less wealth here. So I maybe can look at these folks to become sustainers, but maybe not many major gift opportunities there. And so lastly, We have your opportunity segments. You also can save your own segments. I had created a couple throughout the last few minutes on this call. If you wanted, you can then export them, and you would be receiving an email in under a minute to download a CSV file that you could, drop into Constant Contact to send out an email, or upload onto your CRM and code those people as major gift prospects or people that prefer digital. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. I hope that was informative.
Thank you, Ryan. I was just reading through some of the questions that came in at the beginning of the webinar. One question or one challenge that Sarah wrote and that she's facing is making sure that we are truly figuring out who are our most engaged donors / prospects on any given day, and not working from static information. Would you dive into a little bit more about how GivingDNA solves that particular problem?
Yeah, absolutely. So GivingDNA is different than the traditional append way of operating, where you reached out to an organization, appended your file today, then tomorrow you have new donors, and that data that you just got appended gets older and older. The GivingDNA platform updates our database of all those insights I showed you on a monthly basis. And you can upload your donors every day if you wanted to, because you get new donors every day. Best practice, we suggest doing it on a weekly basis, or if you have a platform that we integrate with, whether it's a Salesforce or a HubSpot, or just to name two of them, where it'll update every day for you. So we're constantly updating it. It is not static. And then any of those segments that you save yourself, say you have this great segment where you want to identify everybody that I think is going to become a monthly donor and they engage digitally. Create it one time, and as new people flow onto the platform that fit that criteria, they'll automatically populate.
Thank you. Another one that I really like comes from Jesse, and he wants something that he's looking for, or she's looking for rather, is recurring and ad hoc analytics and keeping fresh prospects in the pipeline and improving email address data. And so some of those things the GivingDNA platform isn't quite perfect to adjust for, but I really like this idea of recurring and ad hoc analytics. You touched on that at the beginning of the presentation. So what in that, some of those things that he or she listed, would you want to dive into a little bit?
Yeah, well, our giving dashboard was created because we took the most common, most used giving metrics to provide their KPIs, key performance indicators, and that was donors, gifts, average gift, retention rate. What's your growth rate of donors year over year? How many donors are increasing their giving versus decreasing their giving each year? RFM scores, life cycle. All of that is in there, and then you have the flexibility to then look at donors based on their giving levels to you, or based on some coding, like you only want to look at your monthly donors, right? That your current monthly donors. So you can easily get to that. You can blend your information that you pull out of your database with the tools that we have on GivingDNA, and what we had in mind was key metrics, and we're always adding to it. We just added an RFM score chart. Life cycle was added, a month ago. So I think that is something that has been helping a number of organizations, and we'll continue to grow that out.
I would also just add to that, that as Ryan said, and you guys saw within the demo, we really purpose built this for all of you and for the nonprofit industry. And so right out of the box, you get all of these important charts, whether it's giving information or some of that donor demographic, psychographic, and giving behavior information built in. And then what a lot of our clients do as well is that it's really easy to set up certain segments based on different criteria, and always have that updating and being able to go and see that group of people, their giving behavior, or that donor profile that Ryan had showed. So you could, on a simple example, we have people who set up, their giving levels of everyone who's given less than 1,000, maybe 1,000 to 10,000 is another segment, and 10,000 plus. And that's one that as you're uploading new donors, as you're feeding in with the CRM integration, would have it, those are getting automatically updated, and you just can set that up once, as well as any other custom criteria that you have based on channel or based on some of the data enrichment that we give of, I want to see everybody who has a net worth over 2 million. And as new donors come in, you could say, and who's new that also has net worth over 2 million, and that just automatically gets updated. You can just kind of like set up those segments criteria.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, David. A great question that came in from Mora is having to do with goal tracking.
Mm-hmm.
So year-over-year progress metrics such as total dollars raised, average gift, donor and gift count, response rates to appeals, donor lifetime value, a whole number of things that many people who work in some kind of fundraising leadership capacity are being asked on a weekly or monthly basis. What are some ways that GivingDNA can equip someone who's in that kind of role?
Yeah, and if I could just share my screen again and speak to it, because I feel like there's been a number of giving metric questions. I think it would be easier just to show it.
Yeah.
Cool. And so here again, we're on our giving dashboard. And we have donor counts, revenue, retention rate, average gift, you have your giving pyramid, growth rate, how am I doing year over year from the perspective of my donor growth, revenue, average gift, and gifts per donor. I can look at giving by channel. Also donor health, as I had mentioned, are my donors, how many donors are downgrading versus upgrading? Am I growing or shrinking? And then life cycle looks at, for the current fiscal year, what's the giving relationship of your donors with you? So are they new? Are they second year? Are they your key multi-year donors? Have you just reactivated them, or did you reactivate them last year and they're continuing to give? As well as RFM scores, recency, frequency, monetary giving. And you can, again, drop this out into an image to put in a deck, share it with your executive team. Now that's just, I'm looking at everything, everybody on there. If I wanted to, though, I could then look at specific appeal. I already know year over year what my revenue looks like. Now I just want to see what one specific appeal has performed, and I'll look at a 2020. That. And I can look at one specific appeal. Or if I only want to look at a certain channel because I'm on the mail team, I don't care about events or digital. Do that. Move this. So we start with these basic, not basic, but important key charts of performance indicators, and then we allow you to blend it with any of the ways that you look at your giving now. I hope that helps clarify it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Another question that just came in that I wanted to ask before we kind of move into kind of wrapping everything up and summarizing what you've heard today is, once new prospects are identified, do we have a service that provides guidance on how to approach them and convert them into donors?
So just to be clear, this isn't an acquisition platform, but for all of you that have non-donors on your file, which for the dozens and dozens of accounts that I currently work with on GivingDNA, everybody does. We can tell you which of your non-donors have an affinity to support you. Are they actively giving? Are they giving somewhere that's similar to your cause? What's their level of giving? What channel can you most likely engage with them through? So that's how we can help you. And we have best practices on how to approach that. In the example I gave at the beginning, working with the social services organization in Florida, they've got significant support from those non-donors just by focusing on the ones that were giving and have a propensity to support social services. Why they weren't giving to this current one, but we're on their file, I don't know. But now they've become, a lot of them have become donors.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right, well, keep the questions coming. We've got some more time at the end to address a few more questions, and I do see one or two more that I would love to ask. But let me get my screen back up here. All right, so just to quickly kind of summarize everything that Ryan has shown so far, the GivingDNA platform is optimized to cover a wide variety of fundraising applications, as we've already stated. It's a secure hub that visualizes your information, and it's dynamic, so you can customize those charts and graphs to show you information on specific segments and portions of your file, and even look at some things like some performance and key areas. And it helps you understand your donors. Like, as I said, the dashboards are interactive. They're not static and like just cookie cutter, rather. It will show you the behavioral insights. It'll help you identify prime prospects for upgrade or reactivation. And you can build endless segments. You can build as many segments, micro segments. If you have 5 people that you want to look at that are high value donors and really like find some commonalities between them, we can help you. The GivingDNA platform can help you do that. A few client results that I'd love for Ryan to speak to. I think he covered a few of these, but here we actually have the logos next to them. So if you want to actually reach out and ask them about this, that the information's right there for you. Ryan, what would you like to share about from this slide?
Well, these are at every level of the giving pyramid, as I had mentioned earlier on, and there are organizations that are very, very small to very large. Pocket Testament League, we work with their mid-level team. They were previously calling mid-level donors to cultivate in hopes of increasing a gift when the next appeal came out. And we helped them through GivingDNA increase connection rates by 45% by identifying people that preferred the phone, and then layering in wealth and affinity to increase post-call average gift by 31%. Connecting everyone with second chances, the social services organization, they nearly doubled their year-end gifts from 67,000 to 124,000 just by creating some segments of non-donors that are philanthropic, major giving prospects, donors in the medical field, and then tailoring the message of those appeals to them. And it really, minimal time. It took us a half hour to create 5 segments. And then Houston SPCA, an animal welfare organization in Texas, they had a huge opportunity. A nascent major gift program, but a very wealthy area and committed supporters. They wanted to build out major gifts. So what they did is they identified major gift prospects. These are people that had never gave more than $2,500 in a single year. We looked at wealth, their preference to engage digitally, and their director of leadership gifts began sending monthly emails. It looked personal, but they did it batch through their CRM. Just to cultivate, inform them on the great work they're being done. No ask, no donate link or button. The first email they sent out, somebody who had never given more than $2,500 and had been on file for 25 years replied, and he said that he and his wife wanted to give him $100,000. 3 months later, an individual who had been on file for 10 years, never gave more than $175 in a year, did the same thing. And so significant value that they got out of GivingDNA, and it really was quick to accomplish in all cases.
Thank you. So pricing, we don't want to be coy at all about the cost of GivingDNA, and we are proud to be able to offer this wide range of applications and capabilities to you for $10,000 a year annually upfront. But with that investment, you are able to upload up to 100,000 contacts, so pretty large list of folks. And then you will be getting that enriched data on top of that. So not only can you upload those people and run analysis on them, you can get additional information that is pulled in from that third-party information and really just enriches your ability to know who they are. It includes a constituent dashboard, so you can get all of that behavioral and psychographic information, demographic information about your donors and your constituents. You can see your giving and your data. Your giving and your giving dashboards. There are automatic opportunity segments that are built based on some of our own fundraising best practices that you can take and download immediately and use in any CRM of your choice. There's segmentation, prospect identification, everything else that is on this list. And it also includes onboarding from our success team, as well as monthly trainings that are offered, monthly user community webinars that will help you get more into every corner of the software and make sure that you are getting the most out of your investment. If you're curious to learn more and you want to read around and just dive in, we have recently launched a website to really provide everything that you would want to know about the product, short of getting your own customized demo. And you can visit that at givingdna.com. We've got resources, blog posts, as well as additional case studies and resources there for you to feel more comfortable moving forward if you would like to learn more. And if you're ready to hop on the phone and get a customized GivingDNA demo, you can visit this link or use your phone's camera to visit this QR code, and it will pull that form right up for you so you can fill it out, and a member of our sales team will be in touch with you shortly. So in summation, before we go into our Q&A time, the GivingDNA platform helps you increase donor lifetime value, listen to and learn your donors' giving preferences, and as well as their messaging preferences. You can increase engagement in every channel, deliver better response rates, and overall improve the donor experience while also getting maximum ROI out of your investment. All right, commercials over. So we can now jump into some Q&A time. And Ryan, I saw a really great one come in that is, would GivingDNA interact with any fundraising software?
Yeah, I mean, we presently interact with integrate with a number of databases and CRMs, and if we don't actively with yours, we can look into that. We're always adding new integrations. I think, Dave, that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are, super responsive to whatever clients are using. We have an amazing engineering team that makes it really, really easy to add any types of additional integrations pretty quickly if we don't already have them, obviously. And we work well with also that's on the data ingestion side of things, but also making it really easy to pull data out of the platform. You have a segment, you have a report, you have something that you want to either re-upload back to your own CRM or push into one of your distribution channels, whether it's digital or direct mail, making that really seamless and allow you to format it in whatever way you want to, whatever way your tools essentially will consume it.
Mm-hmm. So Ryan, I'd love to know a little bit more. We had a question about custom fields. We saw some of those custom fields in the donor dossiers, but what are some ways that people who use GivingDNA can leverage those custom fields to get really nitty gritty in their information?
Yeah, sure. So a couple good examples. When you upload a constituent and GIF file, GivingDNA identifies your sustainer candidates, monthly donor candidates. Well, based on the giving behavior, some of those people might already be your monthly donors. So a good way to exclude them is include whatever field that states that this person's a monthly supporter, right? Are they a monthly sustainer? Is there a flag code for that? And then that way you have the ability to filter and exclude those individuals. Same thing for major gifts. If you're looking for your best major gift prospects, you don't want to look at the people that are already in a portfolio. So if you have a flag code or you have a code that has the assigned manager's name, the relationship manager, you can upload that as well, because we have the custom filter. That is, we call it custom filter because it's customized based on the data you want to upload. GivingDNA only requires a constituent's ID, name, and address, and that allows us to provide insights. But if you want to include any other segmentation or coding mechanism that you have in your database right now, we can ingest that endless amount, and then you'll be able to filter on those as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. How difficult is it to upload your data into GivingDNA?
We made this for ease of use. Dave and I were part of the team that first developed the platform, and it was to make data democratized. It was built for direct marketers and fundraisers, because historically, and I'm one of them historically, you had to ask your IT team or your database team to run a report in your CRM because it was just too difficult for you to do. You didn't have all the answers about what data you did not want to include. We made this easy to use, and you guys saw how easy it was for me to filter and segment. Same goes for the data upload. There's two files: a gift file, which includes gift ID, donor ID, gift date, and gift amount. That's it. 4 values that I work with a number of different organizations that have a variety of CRMs. That's an easy report to create. Export that, and then you can upload it onto the platform. We have a really cool mapping system. So you don't call it gift ID, whereas we do. You call it transaction ID. Well, we can easily map that nomenclature on the platform. Same thing goes for the constituents ID, the contact ID, name and address. And then if you want to include any of those codes, suppression codes, board member codes, major gift flag, you can do that. But we only require 5 or 6 fields to upload a file.
If there are no further questions that come in, we can go ahead and wrap up for the day. I know we promised that this presentation would be 45 minutes. We are at, I'm currently clocking 40 minutes since this presentation started. So if I can get you back with 5 minutes back in your day, I know you'd appreciate that. If there are any other questions that occur to you after you close out this window, and you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked that, you can email us or visit GivingDNA.com and fill out our form, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And then you can also reach out to any of us on LinkedIn, which I will show here. So any of us, I would be happy to engage with you and connect with you there as well. But that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for giving us some time during your lunch hour, and look forward to speaking with you in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Mm-hmm.